So,
No, I'm just saying
okay,
that's one of the
so
first
we're
things.
gonna open the meeting, the budget committee for April 15th, 2019. We'll rise for the pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So,
You can take that. I'll move it.
Thank you.
I'll go ahead and open the public hearing for the Sunrise Lake Village District budget. We can go ahead and discuss that. However, first of all, before we maybe start that, we should just know who everybody's here, the new members, and we also need to, before we start the public hearing for that, is to talk about the election of the new members, because we need to get that situated so we know who's taking minutes tonight. So I will start with the roll call. So Roxanne here. Tracy. And we
We'll
have.
start at the end of the table.
Yes, let's start.
Scott Ferguson.
Okay.
Tracy Donovan on what?
Bonnie Gagnon.
Roxanne Tufts-Keegan.
Janet Carroll.
Joe Bailey.
Mary Knapp.
Becca Brownell Smith. Okay. So, welcome to the new members, which are Scott and Rebecca and Mary, who is going to be the school board rep. Joe is our selectman rep, and Janet is the village district rep. So now that we got everybody, and we know everybody's here, we have a full board. This is exciting stuff. This is like the most people we've had here since the last meeting, but that's because everybody thought it was a selectmen's meeting.
Yes, they did.
So we should go ahead and elect the new members, elect the positions for the next year, so we can get that situated.
I make a motion to elect Roxanne for chair. You did an excellent job last year.
Thanks.
Sure did.
A second.
Any discussion for that? Nobody else apparently wants that?
Nope.
So I guess we'll put the motion out there. Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? So then we have the vice chair. Anybody want to volunteer to be the vice chair? Tracy, Bonnie, Scott?
Would either of you two like to jump in? I'm just asking.
I'll take minutes if you want.
Awesome.
Perfect.
So Tracy, would you like to be
I'll take whatever you want, then as long as you're up for secretary.
the secretary? Somebody want to second that?
I'll
I thought for sure you would take it.
Okay. Any discussion over Rebecca being secretary? No? All
Let's
those
get
in
my
favor?
first minutes and then we'll
Aye.
Mary, I didn't hear Tracy say
I said
that.
aye. All of us.
Okay, so now the vice chair, did we have anybody volunteer for
Take a motion, Scott Ferguson.
that? Are you okay with that, Scott, or not?
I am, it'll be a learning curve, so I'll have
Okay.
to walk you
Wow,
through a little
this-
bit, but.
I actually didn't do much last year.
So we had a first, who second?
I'll second that.
Look at that, that's so quick. Any discussion about that? Okay, guess none, we'll vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
No abstains, objections?
Yeah, you're all there.
Yeah. Well, thanks. Okay, so as far as the minutes, Rebecca, high level?
What's your, how detailed do you want?
We can give you.
Did you get the ones? They should have been in your pile.
Yep,
So
I did. It's one
that's
page.
kind of the level, it's pretty high level, it's nothing, it's not like pages and pages long. It
The
is-
ones that are really detailed are the ones that will be November, December,
I'll be
January.
asking you.
I'll give you copies of those.
Thanks, okay.
This one is also public hearing, so.
Yeah.
I think she scared me.
Be kind of on top of it. You broke her. It's what in the village? Public hearing for the village district budget.
It's not a budget.
Yes,
Also, don't forget, she needs to record it, she can get.
oh, yes. So
Right.
if we open it, say that again, Joe?
She'll be able to get the,
Oh, from the tape. So,
They'll be posted on the town's website anyway.
yeah, so let's start with the village district So I'm guessing we're just gonna go through this as we did before, Janet?
Jerry's here to,
Yeah,
Gary,
yes, hi.
Would you like to speak to your budget?
Can I just make a comment?
Sure.
I don't think I heard the hearing open. Did you?
Yeah, I did.
She did.
I did, she did.
Okay.
I did open it, and then I went to immediately electing
Great.
the
Okay.
board
I didn't hear
because.
hearing, I heard
Yeah.
meeting.
Yeah. I opened the meeting and then I had to open the public hearing, I'm not gonna say the time, which was probably like 6:34.
Well, this is just our annual budget and we have 4 articles. Article 1 doesn't really count as anything because it's election of officers, like you guys just did. Article 2 is our main budget. Article 3 is for our insurance, but it's coming from the unreserved fund because we didn't spend it last year. And Article 4 is just to deposit some more money into our dam repairs, expendable trust fund. And that's also coming from the unreserved fund balance.
Is
So
this the same amount we did last year?
no, it's less.
it's actually a little bit less. If you look at the MS 737, it gives you last year's total, which was,
It drops down every year because the bond payment drops down. Everything else pretty much stays the same.
so last year was 49,911, this year is 48,650.
And what is that number for, the insurance?
It's for the, that 48,650 is for the Article 2.
Okay,
Correct.
thank you.
So, and you
You
have
have
this
this
in your
too.
package so you can speak to it, because we're gonna vote on each of the articles, correct, Janet?
Yeah.
Thank you. So, if everybody's good.
And Jerry already recommended on it, but we know that will change,
Right.
probably.
Okay, so we won't vote on Article 1 because I don't think we need to do that.
No,
So Article 2 is for 48,650. Do we have a motion to accept, to see if the village district will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of 48,650 for operating expenses as follows. It's administrative, legal, operation, maintenance, dam registration fee, the bond debt, the principal and interest, and then the interest due on 218. So somebody wanna?
Make a motion.
Somebody wanna second that?
I'll second that.
Any discussion about that?
Do you know what the tax rate will be?
no, we won't get that until,
I think last year it was 87 cents
yeah.
per thousand, so.
Yeah.
So it would be less than
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have no idea.
Actually, our tax rate, Bonnie,
Jerry.
Yeah.
was less this
This
year
must
than
be
the town's tax rate.
Yeah.
And 19.
But, yeah,
So,
it's all right, it's a draft.
So if we wanna go ahead and vote on that, all those in favor? Aye. Abstain?
Me.
Okay, so it's gonna stay the same, me. Article 3, and the reason Janet's abstaining is because you're on the,
I'm the treasurer for the village district.
so Article 3, to see if the village district will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $5,000 for liability insurance. These funds are gonna come from the 2018 unreserved fund balance, so there'll be no tax on that. A motion,
We didn't change that.
somebody wanna make a motion to, put that?
I'll make a motion to accept Article 3 as written.
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
Just as an explanation, that $5,000 was appropriated 2 years ago, and we haven't been able to get the liability insurance in place because we're waiting for our maps and everything to come back from the engineers. And about 3-4 months ago, the computers crashed, and all our maps went bye-bye. Supposedly, they have them all set now, so rather than keep appropriating the money, we just pulled it out of the unreserved.
So all those in favor?
Aye.
Any abstains?
Yep.
Okay. Article 4, to see if the village district will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $1,000 to be added to the Sunrise Lake Village District Dam Repairs Expendable Trust Fund. These funds to come from the 2018 unreserved fund balance. I'll accept the motion. Somebody wants to put it out there?
We'll make a motion to accept this, right?
Somebody want to second that?
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, we'll go ahead and vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Abstains or nays?
Me.
Okay. So, if there's anything else, we can talk about this, otherwise we're just gonna go into our regular budget committee.
Okay, can you sign the MS 737?
Not until the end of the hour's up,
Okay.
sorry.
If you wanna leave, go ahead, they can sign it and I'll just bring it back with
Oh,
me.
there you go, yeah.
Should we sign 3 copies? 2 for posting, 1 for
That's what we have to do?
keeping?
So then we need
Yep,
one
and we
more.
need one more.
I got one.
Okay.
Yes, I will take my leave.
So, I don't think there's anything more, anything more about the
Chair.
So the next thing is I've had, everybody got the minutes from the last meeting, I read them, I'm fine with them. I don't know if everybody's had a chance, if we're good, I don't know if we've had a chance to.
You're only missing the.
No, I wasn't here
Motion
for
to
it.
adjourn. A minute, it's not on there.
Oh,
Nothing important.
That was
so,
the week that I was up in Maine.
that's right, you were there.
Yeah.
So, if we're good with it, I will accept the motion.
Injected him.
Make a motion to.
Yeah, it was, I kinda drove down there.
It's gonna be.
I'll second that.
Yeah, it's over
Any
the
discussion on the
dogs and
minutes?
everything.
Okay, we'll vote, all those in favor?
Aye.
Each one, they're still there.
They're still there, yeah, the ones at Beach 2?
Oh, okay.
It looks like they're,
Oh, okay.
No, you weren't.
I can't really tell
Well, no,
where
but he
getting
can still
down
vote.
there.
He can still vote.
But it looks like they're pushed to the side.
You're not here, people.
Because right now the water's just
So with that,
crap out of them.
then we have the monthly budgets that we can jump into.
We'll see.
We'll start with the school budget. Yay! These are extra copies if anybody wants to.
Have a school?
Oh, you want a school one? Okay.
No, me.
Yeah, Joe's gonna take this one.
I was gonna say, oh, sure. Yeah.
How many? I didn't know we were gonna have a full house. So typically, this is where we go through and look at the expenditures that've been happening on the different lines.
Because then we can just tell it like that.
And we're gonna ask Mary all these
Oh, no, you're not.
questions. Yeah, sorry.
From the last meeting, we had talked about the, page 2, the very last line, the contracted health services.
Yes.
It was way over.
Health
Thought it was-
insurance?
Yeah, no, the contracted health services, the last meeting. Oh, maybe not the, oh, sorry, contracted SAU services. So it'll be page 3.
Yeah.
What does that entail? I noticed it's got 0 now where it was in the red for 23,000. I thought they had put it in the wrong line.
Yeah.
Did they do that?
And what's the number?
Right now it's at 0.
Oh, you mean the
Yeah, what's
the budget balance? Is this one you're talking about, this
Yeah,
contract?
see, this is last month's,
Yeah.
and it was in our minutes, that's why, oh,
Oh.
sorry.
Oh, right.
And this is just,
Right. Zero.
it's now zeroed out.
Right.
I just didn't know what line that money was supposed to be going into, or was taken out of.
I don't know. It was like I noted the last meeting, it was a clerical error.
It looks like it's offsetting. It's a transaction like this was maybe offsetting that now. Reduce that out of that line. So I think they reduced the year-to-date transaction, they backed it out. Maybe. Going up the line. So what it looks like here is anything that's in the red means we've over expended for the year. That's what it, yes, okay.
It's the red bold, is it bold? Is
I'm
that-
sorry, no, I'm sorry, I should have done color, it's just negative, it's the,
All the negatives.
Oh,
Faded.
right,
That's negative.
it's the parentheses.
Anything that's in parentheses, Rebecca shows we overspent.
And the bold is just the.
Oh, that's just the.
Those are just totals.
The subtotals
Yeah,
of each
exactly.
Section, yep, sorry.
So I was looking, Tracy, you said the contracted SAU services, but
Yes.
on the contracted health services, it looks different too, like it's 48 cents for the balance.
One page up at the bottom.
It's on page 2 at the very bottom, like the numbered page.
Right, so it's basically saying they got like there's like 48 cents left to, yeah. Cause that's I believe that's the encumbrance plus the year-to-date. And then they compare it against the budgeted, so they got 48 cents left in that line, on that line to spend till the end of the year. So I guess some of these things that are in the red, to me, is they didn't have them in here, they didn't budget for them last year. For example, like the section one, on the first page, is section 125 administration fee for $180. There's nothing in the budget there, but we've spent $180 on that, I don't know what that is. And again.
Roxanne, can you tell me exactly where that is, so I.
That's the section one, it's like, first section, then it says section 120. It basically, anything that.
125 administration fee.
Right.
Yeah, so it's basically anything that would be like a zero budgeted line item, and now we've spent money on it, so that tells me it wasn't set up in the budget last year, so all of a sudden, how is this? So the next one would be the wages for special education for the summer. Right, so we spent 750. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, so I'm looking at anything that's zero under the budget line. And then basically we spent out of that, so I'm just curious as to.
So you're wondering where that money came from?
No, I'm not wondering where it came from, I guess I'm wondering.
Why it wasn't put in the budget
Yeah.
to begin with?
Yeah. Or just curious as to how that came about, like all of a sudden there wasn't anything, we didn't have anything budgeted, and now all of a sudden.
It's 754.24.
I'm gonna guess that that's probably because they weren't anticipating it. That would be my thought. And of course, anything that's got wages, then you have like this reimbursement wages of this, next page, like FICA. And the Hampshire retirement system, so those are all the zero, but because they didn't anticipate spending any money on that, I guess.
With some of this, like for instance, on the page 2, section 2120, the salary guidance and stuff like that, it's over, wouldn't that be a fixed, like, cost? I mean,
You would think so, so I guess we would ask Mary if that's that cost. We
I
would
will
typically think
definitely
that's-
find out.
We would typically think that's a fixed salary, and how did that, yeah.
well,
I
that
will
was my
definitely
other
go on
question,
board
are these amounts a combination of our staff over there and,
No.
No,
okay,
Nothing to do with the town.
okay.
no, nothing to
No,
do
it
with
was
the.
staff.
Kingswood as a whole.
Yeah.
Kingswood.
Kingswood,
Okay.
Kingswood. no.
All right, so that is us.
Yeah. So, the one I guess I would have a question about, and I don't know what it's for, is it's on page 3. It's, the contracted services, the third one down in section 2310 for $33,550. No idea if we can find out what that's for, man.
You said that was page,
Page 3.
Okay.
And it's contracted services is
yeah.
section 2310.
3550.
Yeah, yeah.
There's an awful lot more that isn't budgeted for.
I guess that would be any question, I guess, or any salary line that we would think that that was a kind of what was budgeted for, how did it go over the budget? Cause like so we have the salary for the principal, right now, it's almost $2,600 over budget.
I would say, would that be because of like their conferences that they went to recently?
I would think that would be in the salary, I would think that there's other lines for that, I believe, when I have to take a look.
Would that, for the rates, but maybe not for their actual wages, like maybe for, the money would be for like the fee for the conference or the class.
No,
I
but
think
not
that
for
would be
actual-
line for
those are
those.
separate lines for those, yeah.
Good thought, though.
I don't know, maybe, I mean.
Budget for a raise.
Well, that was part of the whole bargaining, yeah. But I don't necessarily know, I mean, what it is, it should be what it is, and I guess the question is why would it be over budget?
Under 2310 to the last, the dues and fees, the school board is over budget, I would think that would be fixed.
What page?
It's page
Page
3,
three.
second from the bottom.
Right. Right. I don't know, I mean, I know that there's a change, I believe, as to how they were changing what they were getting paid. I don't know what it was, because it wasn't openly discussed at a meeting, but I wouldn't think that it was reflected in here yet, unless they chose to.
One other question, I'm sorry, I had it, is under the same section, contracted services.
Yes.
There's no other explanation.
That's the one that Mary is gonna go back and she's gonna
Oh, okay.
specifically ask about that. Yes.
Did they discuss at the last school board meeting?
I was not
Yeah.
present.
Oh, you weren't, okay. Because that was discussed at, the last one was April, I was not there, the March meeting, they were gonna discuss this overage line. I'm just curious where that money was supposed to go. How it ended
For the
up,
contracted
yeah.
SAU services.
Yeah. We questioned it here, they questioned it at their meeting, so I'm guessing it was discussed at some point.
And can you just tell me what the fiscal year for the school
Oh,
is?
it's July to June, Ken, right?
Yep.
July to June? There's no.
It's July to June.
Yeah, yeah. Well, no, I know, I always question it, because I think I know what it is, but
She did it to me too, because I asked her the question and I should have been asking her, because she's the rep
I
now.
know.
It's all right, I would have asked him anyway.
I know I think it's J to J, and I'm just like making sure that it's, it's July.
Sure, it seemed, I was thinking maybe it was March to April, because
Yeah.
some of these items are so far in the red.
Right. That doesn't surprise me.
But the other side of it is too, that sometimes they come out of the wrong line.
Yeah, there's a lot of little account numbers.
Did we know yet when the new bus is gonna be purchased?
I was not at the last
Okay.
school board meeting.
Hasn't been brought up, we did ask them to let us know when that does happen. I can answer a couple of the questions if you'd like.
Before the next school year, starts like in September, right, would you think that should be?
I believe so, because I think that's the way we voted it on in the articles.
I just wasn't.
I can hit a couple items if you'd like, I mean, not everything, but the section 125 administration fee, that everybody calls it a little bit something different, I think, at their own employer. That's gonna be the cafeteria 125 plan, that's where you have pre-deduction, for like
Pre-tax.
dependents, like
Which one is that?
childcare.
What page, Ken?
First page, going down, there's nothing in the budget
Oh.
for those.
Section 125, okay,
I
yeah.
believe the section 125 is that, what some people call a cafeteria plan for an employer, where you take pre-tax dollars out of your pay for doctor visits or co-pays or things your health insurance doesn't cover.
Not cafeteria, but cafeteria.
Yeah, that's
Curious,
what
you
they
need
call
to
it,
pick your
yeah.
plan for
Yeah, every company, they call it from the section 125, I believe, is the IRS number.
Cafeteria medical, I was thinking like.
And I
I
think
know
on the guidance one, I'm pretty sure that, I suspect that may, as far as the salary goes, that may be reflective of the fact that I think she was out on
Maternity
medical
leave.
leave for a little while.
That's true.
So they're probably appropriating the necessary funds on that line
That makes
for
sense.
whoever may filled in for her. I'm just speculating, but I bet that's pretty much what it is.
I'll find out.
Then the summer school sped.
Yeah.
As you noted, the school year starts July 1. So to, again, get confirmation that it's likely that a student moved in. There's probably no way to foresee that student coming in beyond probably 18 months in advance. That service needs to be provided after July 1. So perhaps at the beginning of this year, since it's summer sped, that's when it occurred. You could probably look back, maybe in an earlier report, and you might see that. I don't know. But that would reflect that it occurred last summer.
Can you see that? You know, last month?
Okay. Talking about anything.
No, it's right here, this is 1,200. Last one would have been first page probably. It was there. Okay, so.
All right.
let's just- I'll never mind my other one up. All right.
Do you happen to know with some of these items, if they're kind of like rolling stuff, or, like I noticed on line 1 at the very bottom, the sped tuition
What page
for the
are you at?
middle school, line 1, it says, we haven't spent any money, is that like something that comes out every year in May, say, or is it something that they just,
No, and I don't know if Mary, you can answer this, maybe you can, or you can call back, or we can defer to Ken, just so, I think this would come out monthly, wouldn't it, or it would come out as we get billed, correct? From Kingswood, if we had a student who was utilizing the special education program, is that correct?
Can you, I want to be sure which one are you looking at?
Right.
It's on the very,
Page one,
page
very
one, the
bottom.
last one where it says sped tuition, LEA middle school. And it's
Yes.
got 163, so that would come out, we would get billed for that, because we get billed.
They'll give you, if there's any services provided, that get billed monthly.
So currently, we have nobody we have no student utilizing that,
that's surprising.
so.
And likewise, on the next page at the top.
That's a problem I'd like to have as opposed to the other way
Right,
around,
right.
being the black.
Right,
Same thing with high school?
Yeah, it looks
yeah,
good.
it looks that way.
Wow.
Now, but then you go to the,
Private
the next
tuition.
one, you got private tuition where you've spent, yeah,
Now, would that be a child going to?
out of district.
Out, yeah, okay.
Including court-ordered placements, which we have no power over.
Because it's my understanding that the school does most everything they can to keep them in district to give them the best and give them the services that they need. Keep costs down as well as give everybody what they deserve. Yeah, it's interesting, a lot of the salary lines are over budget on.
Yeah.
We have salary operating building services, principal, salary for the media specialist,
Yeah, that was a weird one too.
so that's a questionnaire.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is taken, yeah. That one for you.
When is the next school letter meeting? Second one is like,
Is this the second Wednesday, so what is
And
that?
May's different, so.
Yeah, so, the salary, so now this whole section of 27, 22, where there is pretty much some doesn't look like there were anything budgeted for, I guess maybe it's salary, special ed transportation, and there's this ed summer transportation for wages for special education summer, and then there's the FICA, obviously, that comes. So, interesting.
And if you look at the bottom line and you average it out, we got like, what, 3 months left of the school year? It looks like it's gonna be, if things go the way it is, we won't be in the red, but it was odd that some of
And some things come in at different times.
That's what I was
But I
asking,
mean,
yeah,
there's
is it
some
a
things that are
1-year
steady.
payment? or-
Right, right, and there are some things that should be pretty steady through the year, so it shouldn't, you know, so some things at the beginning of the year, you're gonna pay it right away, so it's gonna spike and show that it's paid before we have no more money,
Right.
but we shouldn't have to pay anything else out of that line.
And,
So,
I'm sorry, on page 5, 2740, repair vehicles.
Yeah.
Is that like a bus we had to fix that we didn't budget to do
Bus and a
already?
van, I think, or is it, this is a line that we've had questions on
to have
before,
it
Oh,
taken out,
to have it
labeled
split
all
out,
different vehicles.
right, so we can know whether it's the van.
Sorry,
or-
what line are we on?
27, page 5.
Page 5 right here under repair vehicles, Mary. Page 5. Third one from the
Wait for
bottom,
the movie to
actually.
come out.
It's the repair vehicles, and we wanted to get a breakdown of, or have it broken up so that we know buses versus
spoil.
van, I think, so.
is that here?
Question.
Yes.
Okay,
Mary, commencing the next fiscal year, that should be broken out by vehicle. We used to have it that way.
okay.
Right. The one thing they had trouble is that it was aggregated for half the year, then they were asked to do a breakout. So I don't think you'd have to literally go through receipt by receipt by receipt at this point.
Right.
But that's something we need, I'm just verbalizing, it's something we as a board need to be on task and making sure they do it on starting July 1. By vehicle number.
So, any other question?
Yes. Sped tuition, extended school year. That's summer school, isn't it? On page 1, second from the bottom. There's $10,000 there that hasn't been spent, which puts question to whoever, whichever one is on the answer. When you come up that page where it says wages, sped summer for the $754.24. We paid wages, but there was no no special ed child
No
went to
tuition.
summer school?
Right.
Good question. It almost seems like some of these are like duplicate, like categories.
No, not really, you just,
Well, not that one, but there was another
Maybe.
one that I saw.
On the
they
wrong
just take them
line.
from different lines.
Right.
Extended school year is,
It's summer
it
school.
can be, but it can be beyond that. Extended school year in IEP can go beyond a regular school day, 180 days.
That's my question, Ken. It shows $10,000 that hasn't been spent, but yet, at the beginning of that section, it shows wages for sped summer, $754. So wages were paid to somebody for a special ed student that there was no tuition paid for?
But what he's saying is that it might not have been in the summer. It could be,
I actually didn't finish.
oh, sorry.
I didn't finish.
Okay, go ahead,
You gotta let me finish. When I start talking, I get some information to convey to you.
go for it.
Extended school year doesn't necessarily mean summer school.
Right,
It can go, there's 180 school days in a year. So you could have an instance where a student needs services, think like Christmas break or a spring break, that whole week, that
Okay.
they may have a disruption in services. I'm not saying we're doing that, by the looks of it, we're not, because we're not expending anything, but that might be what that money's for. In the event we have a student that requires supplemental services to carry that continuity of education.
right, and that I understand. But if you're not using that money, then how are you paying wages to somebody?
Right.
Or was that specific,
Yeah.
are those wages specific to summer school?
I'm just, like I said at the beginning, I'm just speculating because the school year starts July 1,
Yeah, I
so
know
there's
it
been
does.
expenditures for summer school. The only summer that has occurred so far this year has been since last summer. Summer school usually begins in July. So I don't think,
The entire 27-22 is like that. All the sped things
Right.
are in the red for the summer stuff.
Well, there's the regular, I think it's like the regular special ed transportation, and there's transportation wages for summer.
Plus drivers.
So, yeah, I don't, and I would have thought, I would think that we would have budgeted something in the salary for special education transportation, especially since we have one that's going to private. So we've gotta be busing that student to somewhere. Right? So, I don't know, that was something, yeah.
That's a question I have. Yeah. Why are we using a big school bus to pick up like 4 kids in the summer?
I need to ask Mary that.
Mary. But I know Mary
See, we're going
won't
around
know.
the table.
Mary wasn't involved with it last year, so
I will definitely find out. I don't have an answer right
Okay.
now, but I will find out.
it just doesn't make sense to use a big huge bus when you have the minivan.
But they may be using that for, I don't know how
Yeah,
many
that's
students
what-
are going out, in what directions they're
There's
going
like
in, so maybe that might
4
have something to do with it, I
Sure,
have no
I think.
idea. And depending on which directions they're going in, I would guess maybe that might have something to do with it. So. Any other questions? Comments? Concerns? Are we good?
you said something about special ed transportation. You
Yeah.
had some other question on that?
Well, it was just the section 27-22 can, all of that transportation section doesn't have anything, well, I guess, there's 4 lines that don't have anything budgeted, there's contracted services transportation for 9647, so I'm just wondering why there wouldn't have been anything budgeted when we know we have students going out of district for special education. Kind of like some of this other stuff where, like the wages for special education summer. And I can understand that that's populated, then I would understand why the transportation wages for special education summer didn't have anything in there, because we didn't have anything in there for the regular salaries. But I know there should have been something in the salary for the special education transportation altogether, because we are busing 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 students out of district for the private, so.
So on the 27-22, in that section, the bottom line says contracted service transportation is valued at $9,647,
Right,
and none of that has been expended,
right,
which suggests to me that they went away from a private provider
in putting it in.
and probably had staff free up internally, on staff, people already employed by the district, and utilized them.
Okay. So this
Do
is
it.
just this 9647 will be offset by these negative.
To some degree, but if you look at the
Right, we're still
values,
being, yeah, well, we're still gonna be in the red,
yes,
but.
yeah. But just to kind of read it, just to kind of read into it
That's
a little.
question, and we can Going to get better as we get closer to the end of the school year. Anything else on the school?
No, not.
It's not bad for your first takeaway, Mary.
Not worried.
I did have one other question.
Sure, no, that's quite all right.
In the 1200 category, which I feel like we're picking on special ed here, but it says, okay, I was looking at the summer, there was 2 summer categories, I thought they were both wages, one of them's FICA.
Oh, so yeah, so that's just a
Alright, sorry.
byproduct of the wages, yeah. So, we can jump over to the town expenditures.
Sounds good.
Can't get there quick enough, Mary? Can't get there quick enough?
Come on, if you have to.
Sooner versus later. So, because, what you have in front of you is just showing you what's been spent to year to date, there's no budget numbers in there because the minutes, I don't think have been submitted to DRA, and until minutes get accepted from DRA, they can't produce the budgeted numbers, they don't become final or approved and whatever, so this is kind of why we have what we have in front of us.
Were the minutes done, right?
Nope.
They were still working on them, as I know, as of the last selectmen's meeting. They're still outstanding?
The final part is through the moderator. The Article 3, if you remember, town meeting was quite controversial, back and
Yeah.
forth. He wanted to take care of that part
Okay,
of the minutes of the meeting, and once that's submitted, he's also had a few additional personal things going on, so they haven't submitted yet.
but we expect that to be soon?
I would
Soon,
hope
I'm
so.
saying soon, Joe, I'm not
No,
saying
we
that
heard
tomorrow.
that we heard it would be done by last week, and
Okay,
so it'll be.
okay. So at least we can look at what's been spent, I guess, I don't know, I mean, we can pull out what we have for budget, to see if anything looks odd, but,
So this is starting January 1st, right?
Yes.
yes. So I guess I'll have the question I'll ask you, Joe, is so the tax collector, town clerk, that situation, how is that, did Laura say that was being put back on the same line? And if that's the case, how, can you do that?
Nothing has changed, other than the fact it did not go to
Okay,
separate.
all right, okay, I just wanna.
The only other change would be the person behind the window.
Okay, no, that's, cause I remember, I just didn't know how that was gonna all, do we have a deputy? Okay,
No, they're advertising for it now,
alright, so we have so Janelle is the tax collector and the town clerk.
yes,
And so we have a deputy, we don't have a deputy tax collector,
not at this point, no.
but we've spent money out of that line?
Apparently.
It wasn't Kathleen initially, and Janelle was her.
Oh, but-
deputy.
Up until the March vote, Kathleen was part of that. That's why that money's out of there. Until the March
Janelle
vote.
would have been the
That's why they
deputy up
took
to
the
the.
Deputy would,
Yeah.
right, you know, with the deputy and.
That's why they took the money out of there, because they put it back in, they're making it all one.
Okay, no, I'm just asking, well, you mean they're taking it out
Yeah,
of
they're
this line,
taking
they're
those-
gonna move it?
Yeah, these two will be moved into the tax, town clerk line.
Well, yeah, until we get the final thing.
Right, and this will be moved into the deputy town clerk.
Right, yeah, well, maybe hopefully by next month that can
Yeah.
start it out, we'll know what that is all about.
I'm sure I have it, I just have.
Well, if you find it, okay. So typically we have a budget in here, so it makes it easier to kind of go
So,
through, but,
Roxanne, I need to clarify something.
Yeah.
Okay, because you started with town clerk, tax collector.
yeah,
If you look at the selectmen's, bookkeeper salary and the deputy, something, that's Laura Parker's salary.
on the
Okay.
first page, yep.
And she has the option of having a full-time deputy or whatever.
Mhm.
Kathleen will, when Laura's out on vacation, whatever, come in and she will be the deputy to sit in that role. That's
Yeah.
what that money's spent for.
That's on the first page,
Right,
that's the deputy, right,
okay?
right.
So,
Nope, that's fine, I
it's
wasn't.
only as needed when needed.
No, right, but I mean,
Okay.
and I don't know how much.
So,
is-
and then the tax collector and deputy like that's basically,
That's
we
that,
just
all that one
discussed.
position,
Yes.
yes, okay, yeah.
Who did that last year?
that was Kathleen.
No, she backed Laura last year? She couldn't have been,
No, this is year to date.
right, no, but I think Tracy's
Yeah,
question was last,
Who did it last year?
who was Laura's backup last year?
She had, at one point, Gwen was doing it.
Yes, I remember
Okay,
that,
like that, a lot of times she had nobody.
right, because I was gonna say, Kathleen couldn't have done it because
There's
she
no
was
checks
in,
and balances.
right, she was in the role of
Town clerk.
town clerk tax. But yeah, so she couldn't, but now she can because she's not
We
in,
expended money last year too.
right, and that would be Gwen, I think it was Gwen.
Gwen was here then.
Yeah. there. Oh, so I have a question, Joe. In the last selectmen's meeting, and I don't know where, and I think Laura made a comment, and I don't remember where she said, how money was gonna go back into. So we overpaid, the town overpaid in the, state retirement fund for the, basically for the police. Like almost $16,000.
I know it's just driving me.
And I think, Laura said that's gonna go back into miscellaneous revenue, so that's not gonna go into the budget, it's gonna come in as just revenue, so we're not gonna.
Right.
Okay, alright. So we got $16,000.
And that FEMA money that came through on
Yep.
that goes back to the,
Yeah, that'll go into,
Highway.
yes, yeah, and that was, 16,000,
16,000.
almost $17,000.
Yeah.
That's coming back for FEMA.
That's all this year?
I think that was
They
about.
whatever they give us.
No, because usually they
That
get
was
about
better than
50,000.
Huh?
They usually
No,
get close
I
to
don't think we had that
50,000, don't they?
That's
No.
a different thing. That was
Oh,
something
okay.
different. Last year, the FEMA gave us a note for deficit, two checks. So,
No, I
I
don't know
have to say, it could be me.
on it.
So it's kinda hard not knowing what the budget,
it is.
but, I mean, at least you can kinda see, in this budget, I can tell you, goes from January to December. The
Yeah.
town budget goes January
Well,
to December.
I didn't gather that one.
Well, and I had to look at that, and I'm like, December, and I'm like, oh, is this last, this year, maybe 2018, and
It's
it's
hard to
Always
find
like
back.
yeah, it is. I was trying to get my brain
Take it,
into it,
thanks.
so. And typically, when we get this, and it has the budget in here, Laura will have provided us like what the percentage is that we should be at and what we actually are at, so we can say, oh, we're better than, worse than.
She get it all set up once the budget like that, automatically gives the percentage for it, so
Somebody coming in.
formatted in there.
What's that?
Supposed to know what's going on.
I'll say close, fairly close.
Oh, yes, you can look at the total, actually. You can-
Well, this is April, so you have to knock off a month off of,
Oh,
this is the end of April from last year.
right, so if we,
So there'd be a month there.
so you just take this one, that one divided by 4 at the bottom, and so. I can do the math, if I get my phone out, I can do the math and see.
I did have a question, Joe.
Sure.
In, I think it was one of the January meetings, we were told that one of the officers had retired and he was gonna work part-time
Yep.
until the state would allow.
Yep.
Yet I heard you guys filled that position for the full-time, because I had asked at that meeting if we were gonna hire a full-time, and you said no, he was gonna work part-time, so.
So, when Officer Lowell retired, he had to take a month off to meet the requirement specifications to be able to go to retirement. He came back as working full-time 40 hours, but in a part-time capacity,
Yeah.
okay, up until the time that the chief decided he was going to fill that position, okay? Had no plans at that point because he had nobody he's looking at. If he had an application and he hired somebody for that full-time position, he could do that. So, at the time we talked, that was not on the table at that point.
So is the other guy still here part-time?
He's on part-time roster, but he only comes when they need him.
So like per diem kind of thing?
No, you know, like if he does detail or something like that, if they have somebody that's out on, something happens where they can't need an extra body, and he's available, and maybe somebody is not, he'll come in.
I was just wondering if we had an extra guy
No,
now.
And he's gonna be working
No,
the
wait.
hours.
Well, a created
No,
position
yeah.
essentially.
No, basically what it is, we have 4 full-time officers, which is budgeted for, and we have 7 budgeted for part-time people. So, that's it.
Yeah, so if we're just looking at last year's, right, it's about, we're 58,000 over.
The last year?
Well, if we take April's and we just divide it by 4 times by 3, that would give us through March, which is what this one is.
We won't.
Through this, so last year through March, estimating it like 479,000, and we're at 537,000 here, so we're about 58,000 over, but hopefully next week.
Roughly where is that?
Probably all the
It could
salt.
be Yeah, right.
Oh, maybe, that could be a little bit.
But, and if you
Yeah, well, look, right there.
saw $40,000,
Right,
but
so what
that
was all that?
$16,000 just came from FEMA can go back into that.
Right,
But-
yeah,
but
But
Rick
I'm just
refuses to do
curious as to
that,
how
so.
much was salt.
$45 last year.
What
It was more last
40,
year.
so 5,000 more last year, so
Yeah,
somewhere
so
it's
that's
in a
not
different
bad.
line.
Yeah, that's the salt, but you haven't got all the goals yet, Eli.
No, but I'm just saying is we're trying to look
Yeah,
at something to look at. We,
I know.
we don't have a guideline
I
here.
know, it kind of stinks this way, but
But, well.
can't help it.
Yeah, we'll get it.
It is what
Did
it
we
is.
have audit last year?
Yeah.
We get audited every
We get
year.
audited every year.
That's 7,000, right?
We had an extra audit this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on the 1st of April, we had another additional audit from Vashon Cloquet, which was right around a $1,500 bill. That was not budgeted, because when we changed from Kathleen to Janelle as the town
Oh, yeah,
clerk,
you have
they have to come in audit books to close out Kathleen's books, so Janelle has a fresh start.
Right, I remember them talking about that.
And that's something, that's no percent we should budget it, but if she didn't get elected, then we didn't budget $1,500 when we needed, so.
There's the revenues are here. No, that's okay, keep going, because I'm like,
It's almost impossible to
right, it is.
go further with that without getting more
But,
information.
well, not without pulling out last year's, and-
Yeah,
which
trying to
I can do when I get home and maybe take a look at that.
Yeah, and by then we'll have it all done for you.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
right, hopefully,
Right.
right. So.
I can't see it going much
The other,
longer.
the other section that we have is the revenues, the monies that come in through, for the month. And so it's,
It's not so much what they've taken, the minute, like I said earlier, Article 3 was quite back and forth.
Yes, it was.
Okay, and between the minute taking and the video and stuff like that, it's still kind of confusing. So Jack said he wanted to write that part up, so it'd be
Oh, okay.
no misunderstandings and stuff like that. So he wants to make sure this, some of the VRA is as accurate as possible, so, which is appropriate, so. He feels the responsibility to take care of it, and let him do it. Unfortunately, like I said, he's got some personal issues going on that. Kind of
so, as of the end of March, it says our total cash available is 1.382 million, or actually it's 1.383 million. There we add in there. And that fund balance, is that correct, Bill? We call it fund balance? That's a lot of money.
How much?
1.3, 1.4.
1.3.
But I'm guessing we must be having things that need to be paid out, so. And actually, question actually, for you, have we, is any decision, well, what's, the money that's in the fund balance, is there any, have the selectmen made any decision what, how that's gonna be handled, or what, how that's gonna be, what's gonna be done with it, I guess?
Not at this point, no.
Okay, all right.
We don't, if you want, if the money's gonna be used to raise, lower taxes, we have one shot in November to do that.
Okay,
And we have to have a meeting prior to that, and the DRA will call up and say, what are you guys gonna do?
yeah.
And we let them know what the plan is, so.
I would-
So basically, I think possibly come late summer, early fall, Board of Selectmen meetings, we'll be talking about it.
Right. Would any, so now I'm gonna throw out this other question, with that money that potentially we would maybe put towards a warrant article to help towards
Paying down,
paying down, say what, paying down what?
maybe a highway truck or something,
Or that, or putting money towards the addition for the,
that's whatever the taxpayers wanna do.
okay, no, but I mean, so that's out there and that's gonna be discussed as that all comes together,
So
okay? I'm just
basically,
curious.
if I can elaborate, because we got an email, prior to the last meeting about the town fund balance.
Oh, really?
yes. So,
Did you talk about this at last meeting?
No.
Oh, okay, all right, well, I
No.
don't remember that.
no, because basically the email came in and to get the information prior to the last budget meeting, wasn't enough time on a Monday to pull that all together.
Who did the email come from?
One of our members.
Oh, okay, oh, no, that's
So-
okay, I was
so-
wondering if it
so
was coming from
basically,
DRA or.
We've done some research and stuff like that, okay? So, in a nutshell, overall, this is Laura's notes, each year, more money is added to the fund balance from us spending or bringing in additional revenue, such as selling properties, or increase of motor vehicle registration. Now, I could wait until you hear some of this, okay? Also, the savings from health insurances, okay, that goes in, the audits. We used to be budgeting $15,000-$16,000 a year for audits. Because of the bookkeeping now that's in place, they're not spending as much money, so that goes basically as a savings to the town off the budget. And basically, I think working with the selectmen, you have seen that we also are watching the pennies as much as we can. All right, so, having said that, I have 2015, okay? $647,946, okay? And basically, we move into 60, so it's gonna,
Yeah.
that's what it was, and now a year later, it is at 870,567. Big good increase, okay. Motor vehicle registrations increased in 1 year by $133,000.
Oh, we're rich.
The town
I
underspent,
bought a new car that
the
year.
town underspent,
Ouch, ouch.
you add on top of this, the town underspent through budgeting $84,000. We saved $84,000 off the budget. Okay. So you go into the next year, okay, $983,698. Another
And
increase.
that's just and that's carrying over each year?
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just make sure.
Motor vehicle increased revenue by $170,000. Town underspent by $69,000. So in 2 years, we, as a selectmen, have saved almost under $50,000 off the budget. Okay. We also had a $75,139.99 that the auditor moved back into the town fund balance that was due from the school and all that process, okay? And that was added to the fund balance. So you take those three right there, 170, 69, so it's another 240, and another 75, it's a chunk of change, okay? That all goes to the fund balance. And then 2018, increase in motor vehicle registration and sale of municipal property, $231,000. So the fund balance is $1,190,331, okay? So basically, this is where it's coming from. So,
Joe, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Did that come from a concern, thinking that the selectmen were over budgeting?
well, if some of the meetings have come up like that, we're selling properties and we're doing all kinds of things with the money or whatever. I mean, social media's blown up about the whole thing. People need to understand, it's just, this is where the money comes from, okay? We're doing everything we can to be diligent on the budget, obviously it shows, okay? Some things we can't control. As like I said, previous meetings and stuff, we done a 11-year study. What was budgeted by the taxpayers and what was actually audited by Vashon and Cloquet, our town auditors. And basically, we had a 6 months that was over budget, and 6 months that was 5 months under budget, okay? But overall, we it saved money because of the differences in the price that we saved, okay? So, in 11 years, if you go with the cost of inflation of 3%, that should have been 33% increase overall in 11 years. What we did is we looked at the numbers for what the operating budget for the town was, that's minus the state, the county, anything else, insurances, whatever, things that we can't control. And we actually, the selectmen, not just myself and John and whatever, but previous select boards as well, it was a 1% increase each year. 1% in 11 years, not 33% like everybody else is doing. And in the meantime, you stop and look, we have all kinds of nice new equipment, we have other things that are going on, So I think we're doing it pretty well the right way, okay? I challenge anybody in this house, they say they can run their house on a 1% increase. You can't, no, you can say, I wouldn't believe you, okay? And I can challenge anybody in the state of New Hampshire, the same thing. So, I think we're doing the job quite well. Now, $1.1 million is a lot of money. I agree with you, okay? I really think that at some point, we should probably put a warrant article, maybe for this year, that we should pay off, maybe the highway truck, and why not pay it off early and save interest? We done it on another vehicle over here a couple years ago. We saved $10,000 in interest. Why not do that? If we have a warrant article to do more for the fire department, we'll have numbers together for that by then. So, we can figure that part out too.
To buy the repeater, right?
This year
Well,
we were over budget though, right?
Huh?
The town was over budget this year.
$24,000, and that has to do with the next door, so. Yeah, so.
Old Town Hall.
I'm sorry, and the kitchen, the whole part of
The
it.
clock tower, as they
So-
like to refer to it as.
I'm so used to talking about it, I forget when people don't realize what I'm talking about, so.
Well, I'm thinking this one, that could be quite Yes, I can, almost, 15 minutes.
So basically, we like to leave in the fund balance approximately $500,000 to $600,000. I know there's different rules of thumb, you have to call the state, you call the auditors, they all have a different number, and it's like 10, I think the most is like 20% of your fund, of your town budget. Look, we had, since I've been a selectman, John and I, we had to go and get a TAN note 1 year, okay? I don't wanna do that, my paying with that. If we can have the money sitting there, available, leave it there. $600,000 will take care of anything we ever need to have, you know, so.
Can I ask, is this money in like an escrow with a specific interest or?
No, the money's not like in a savings account where we have $1 million sitting there. It's basically, on the books, operating books, as available money, that type of thing. I mean, it's like I said as well, if we have a major disaster in town where we need to, say, maybe this building burns down, we need to have the building, okay? We can call DRA and get permission to rebuild or repair.
Without a
okay?
vote,
Without a vote.
right, yeah.
Okay? Basically, there's not much we can do with that money without the taxpayers' input and vote, okay? One thing you gotta be cautioned of, okay? You see it with the school budget, okay? Everybody voted down, they want the lower tax rate, but now they have to go and raise and appropriate to get their money they need, okay? So you give it back, but they're gonna turn it around and ask for it back to run to run the school. Right now, we're at $9.32 per thousand. I'm just gonna put this out as a hypothetical because it's not set in stone, but right now, we're looking like we're on track that just by doing what we're doing, we might be down near the $9 mark coming up. So naturally, by doing things the way we're doing, your tax rate is coming down, okay? If you go and vote, say, we want $500,000 taken out of this fund balance for taxation, and you drop it down to say $6 per thousand, then next year it should come right back and it's gonna catch you bad.
Yep.
And you're gonna raise more than what you get back.
But it's,
Operate.
but it's very difficult to explain that to
It is
people.
very
It
difficult.
is a very hard concept for people to understand. Mr. Hodgkiss?
You want a simple explanation?
Yes.
2 years budget, first year is $100, but there's surplus money, so you only have to raise $80 to achieve your $100 budget, because you're getting $20 back from unreserved fund. Second year, you want another $100 budget. Same amount as last year, but now you have to raise $100. So the tax bills go up even though the amount of money is the same as the previous year. And people say, well, you're raising taxes. Well, it's the roller coaster effect of lowering it 1 year and then having to raise it to get the same amount next year. Joe's idea of paying off certain bills and saving on the interest is a good one.
There is a third option, you can tighten your belt to not have to do the $100 budget.
Right,
I think that's where we would come with the school side too, you know?
right.
That we knocked up a lot of tuition money because it wasn't.
But you know something, Tracy? If you remember, and.
I'm not so much talking about the town, I'm just
Okay,
saying.
I'm just saying.
It is an option also.
Right.
Okay, it is.
Right.
And I get no problem if we can tighten our belts even more, but I think you saw through our meetings with the department heads and stuff like that. I think we're a little bit more harder than what you guys were in certain areas, you know, so, I mean, we
I
do
don't
look.
know.
Well,
I
I
don't
mean,
agree with that either, but.
well, I know that there's a couple of two things, little line items like that we thought we could do better on. And it wasn't challenged, I think we should say.
Well, our budget was
But-
also based off of your guys not being done, so we made it and then we were locked in. We never went back and changed, there were several things that were changed after.
I think we're doing pretty good.
I didn't say you weren't, yep, I agree, but that is an
It's not gonna
option
be
too,
perfect,
to,
Right.
to lower, you know, ask the school, the town.
but, no.
If
I
the
really
people
think, that-
want
I think
lower,
the
then-
focus should be at, and I'm not trying to slam the school, but, I mean, the focus should be on the school. I mean, that's where
I
you're
think
big.
we showed that this
So-
year.
We do.
I think-
I think
Oh,
we
I think
did.
so too.
I think the
I
focus,
think that message is loud and
right,
clear.
I think the board's focus is both the town and the school budget.
The
and
biggest
doing what
thing that we
can
wanna do,
with both,
I think the biggest thing that we're trying to do is we're trying to get a nice level for
Right.
the town,
yes.
and we're eventually gonna get the school down to where they're going to be operating
Operating.
as efficiently as possible. And I would say another couple, 2, 3 years it's gonna be there,
Right,
I'm guessing.
right.
And if that's the case, people will know exactly what it is, and you don't wanna go up and down like that.
Correct.
We
don't
wanna
want
stay
the
away
roller
from all
coaster
that.
ride.
But actually, I'm gonna tell you this, a very good, personally. We just got almost a $500 increase on a monthly payment, because of this roller up and down crap. Okay, and it's hard to take that.
Yeah, it is.
Just out of here, when's I think somebody had said something at one of the past meetings about the school bond.
Right.
How, is there like 5 years left? Or?
It's 20-year bond, but I
Okay,
don't know.
no, I thought somebody had said something of 5 years, maybe it wasn't the school, but, so it's 20 years left on the school bond.
No, no.
Oh, it's 20-year bond, so you're talking.
16 years left.
So we got another 16 years or something left on it,
Right,
so.
But it was 20 to begin with.
right.
Yeah.
And how much was that bond for?
6.5.
6.5 mil?
I'll just be happy if my taxes don't jump up $1,800 in a 6-month period.
They shouldn't this
That,
year.
that happened like
Okay.
before we went to Kingswood.
So I'm gonna close the public hearing for the Sunrise Lake Village District. If everybody's good with that, we'll close that, so we'll make the signatures for that. I'll send these down for signatures.
Joe, while they're doing that part, now you said that you'd be looking at it in November for what to do with the, like, as you're getting to the end of
Tax
the budget. Right, the tax rate. Would that affect the December payment or the following, the July payment? I'm not really sure how the tax year
Oh, so it
breaks
would
out.
affect the December payment.
Yes.
Yeah, it would,
But we do
yes.
it, they do it, they ask us in October, and they like to get the bills out in November for December.
I know, I'm sorry.
Okay, so basically, should usually around the second week or so like that of October, close to November. So that way we get the number, and we can sit in the new tax rate on the bill. And we
Okay,
have
so,
time to,
Yeah, so the
just in
tax,
time you can pay it before
the
Christmas.
tax rate that happens in December will be the same tax rate you have in your June
following.
bill, yeah.
okay, I think that was the confusion, because when we did our mortgage, for example, they overestimated us by almost $3,000 in our thing, because they're like, oh, we doubled this payment, but our tax year here in town was the opposite, started December.
Oh, wow.
So they doubled our December, or our, whichever the bigger payment is,
I didn't
it's
push
weird.
too late.
Usually they're split 50-50. This year they were different because of the tax rate increase in the assessment.
No, July is
Typically,
always
if there isn't a change though throughout the 2 budget cycles, your July bill and your December bill will be
Relatively
will be
same.
pretty close to exactly the same.
December bill was,
No, the
December
December
bill
bill
is
here.
one.
No, I'm
No,
saying if your budget,
Right.
previous cycle to the next
Okay,
cycle is
December, the
pretty
end of
close
the
to the
year.
Right,
same.
yes.
Typically, like
Yes.
I'll use Rochester as a prime example, they have a tax cap, they go to the tax cap every year.
All right, you bill twice a year.
Their bill is
But
almost
you're not
identical,
50/50.
July, December.
Okay, because that's what I expected, but then when we've gone back
It's
and
always
looked at tax
conversations
kiosks
going
for
into
our
it.
property,
Yeah,
Because they
It's-
that's true.
it's like about, like
Well, you'll see-
$1,500 difference.
you'll see a
between
lot in
one
there
payment
too,
and the other.
because I know in the past we had, there was money that came back from the school a few years back.
Yes.
And then there was the initial school, the initial bond, so over the last 5 years, 6 years or so, the taxes have gone like.
Okay, 'cause that's what I,
The roller coaster.
my understanding was I thought just, however it broke out, whether it was July and then December and then July, is I always thought that they, once you set it, then it was good for 1 year, so they split it in half, but it seems to change between like,
No,
No,
because it
because
changes in the fall.
Right, because what happens is, yes, it changes in the fall, so that's when the tax rate gets set in the fall. So say the total taxes were $2,000 and you paid $1,500 in June, because that was based on the last year. Your tax bill that you're gonna get in December is only gonna be $500 because you've already paid you're kind of prepaying your taxes
okay.
in
Before your
January.
Christmas gift.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
know,
Right, yeah.
it'll always be
Well, that's what
half of
happened, they,
you send.
when they doubled it, they were like, oh, your taxes are almost $9,000, and I was freaking out because we almost lost our mortgage over it. Because it was like $3,000 higher
And
than
it's
the
because
reality.
the mortgage companies figure out their escrow
Yeah.
calculations like half in between the tax
Yes.
bills, so your bill is like always getting
Yeah.
screwed up.
Right, well, yeah, we already got the escrow review too, and
Yeah.
they're like, oh, we underestimated by $1,000. I'm like, how do you do that? Like,
Yeah.
So, and
So-
it's brought up a little earlier too about the valuation. Remember, the last time they done a full town evaluation was over 5 years ago.
Right.
Just over 5 years
Before
ago.
the school.
Well, we didn't have a school then.
Right. So this
So
new
now they
valuation
come up
that
and do the
was just
5-year
done-
evaluation, they have to encompass the school, because now the town is more valuable.
Right, so this last
So-
valuation we got,
Should
And
be a
that was
pretty good,
November?
should be, yes.
Yes, yes.
And that's what changes how much money you pay. The tax rate isn't changing, the evaluation
right,
is
but this
changing.
big one that was the first in 5 years was this past fall, is what
Yes.
you're saying. So
Yes.
we're already over that hump.
Yes.
Now we're, okay.
Yes.
And the real
Well, mine
estate
didn't
market,
change that much, and people were like freaking out, and I'm going, okay, I think I'm good.
the real,
But you do
the
know,
real estate market has rebounded to where it was basically back in the 2000.
Right, before
Yeah.
2008 went crazy.
Mid-early 2000s. So based on your assessed value now, odds are this is probably the highest assessed value you're gonna have on your home, unless you do some major renovation or something along those lines throughout your tenure.
Yeah, you know,
Well,
we used
but
to
you
think
still
about that,
have to
like, oh, we're gonna
consider.
do all these changes,
you
now
have to.
I go to make a change, and I'm like, wait, what's that gonna do to my taxes?
Make it change until the house is worth
Right.
less.
Right, well, that's just it.
I don't
But, you
wanna
know,
pay for my driveway.
my partner's like, oh, but that'll increase the value, and I'm like, we're not selling the house, we don't need to increase the value.
Exactly.
So,
So one last thing that I have before, at the bottom of the the agenda, I think I provided this before, it's a website, you can go out to, it's www.nhpfc.org. And you can go out there and it has all the towns' tax rates, it has them broken out by county, school, town,
right.
and everything. So you can compare, if you wanted to see how you compare, we compare to other towns that are maybe of the same size as us.
That's the hard part, they need to like put in a population
They do,
or something.
it is,
Do
if
they?
you're out there, yes, it
Okay.
says that, like Middleton, it says like 1812, I think, that's the number, that's the population.
Right.
I can tell you 2018 isn't out there, because I was just out there looking at it tonight.
Right.
And so it kind of gives you an idea of where we fall in this, our school rate, where we fall on our town rate. And I can tell you, I was looking at it, our town rate is probably, of the 10 towns I looked at for the same as population, ours is, we are probably in the top 2 percentage-wise,
For highest.
for highest.
I
yes.
thought we were
But-
third, like,
Yeah.
I was looking at that.
But our school is,
Brand new.
our school, but I mean, for our school rate is, I think it's average, it's not like the highest one, I think most everybody thinks it is. So, there's just a lot of stuff to look at, a lot of information to gather, to look at, you know, and hopefully,
Plus the home value and stuff
Right.
like that. because
yes,
people
depending
are
on
like,
where it's
oh
located
my
in
God,
the town.
it's
I
only
mean, in the
$10
state.
for your tax rate in Rye. Well, you're talking about a $4 million house.
Right,
Right.
right, yes, so
People-
depending on where you're.
That's
Yeah,
a lot of
right.
it, is, yeah, if you have a bunch of mansions,
So
then you don't
trying
need a
to-
high rate, because
So trying to
Well,
find
right
towns that
above
are comparable is
hard.
You
hard,
have
but
to
I
know
mean,
the state, you
right.
really have to kind of know the towns.
It depends on the geographic,
So,
basically, because you
right.
can jump just down the street to Wakefield,
Tax rate right now is $9 on the house.
Right,
Yeah.
You can get a $250,000 home and pay $1,200 a year,
right,
not a biannual.
right.
It's
For your
always been
taxes.
that way in Wakefield.
But they have 7 lanes.
Right, I was gonna
There's
say.
7
They're-
different
they're all-
parts of water that are taxed.
Wakefield's
that way.
also what, 30 something square miles? I mean, Wakefield's a
It's
huge town.
huge geographically.
But it is
Geographically,
huge.
it's
It is, yes, it is huge.
Well, you stop and also consider people moving in, building new homes, or buying an older home and renting it, get it renovated to whatever, all that increases the value. So, I mean, ask Tammy, she's having a farmer's porch put on, she's gonna add to it.
Soon, very soon. We did,
You hope.
put a room in a farmer's porch on us, and our valuation went up almost $38,000.
Right.
There's nothing in that room, there's no plumbing, there's no heat, nothing.
Hey.
It's a room.
Hey, I just bought a piece of property from the town that has a $32,000 foundation on it.
Right,
It's a nice
and a lot of junk, and a lot of junk, that's the
And a
value,
whole
right?
lot of junk.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your
Holy
So I mean,
smoke.
I don't
Now
see
that
a
the
yard
snow's
sale
gone,
sign.
there's nothing for a yard sale.
Oh.
Now that the snow's
There
Did you
just
melted,
find the Indian burial
A
ground?
lot of people looking to get rid of junk.
if I had junk, I would use it.
shit.
Junk is up right now.
Did you find the Indian burial ground over
Not
there?
yet, not yet.
He's looking.
That's the only reason I said I'll let it go, because I don't need my ancestors haunting me.
I'm looking for it, but now that the snow's gone and I walked it, it's
I'm
heavy.
on a
Okay,
little bit.
I'm gonna wrangle this thing
Wrangle it
in
back
here.
up, sorry.
I'm sending the sheet around for everybody, the budget committee, so I can get your name, contact information, and I'll send out a
Something.
blanket email, so then make sure that everybody gets it, just reply back yes, and that will be good. I don't have anything else, does anybody else have anything?
Are you posting this video on Facebook of this meeting?
I'm not.
Hand it to Laura.
I would like to see it posted,
It will be.
just because people
That would be
might
Laura.
get a better understanding
Okay.
of different things that you guys have brought up instead of
Okay.
all the comments of, you know, the selectmen live a luxurious life and all
Wednesday.
that.
Yeah, I
kind of
know
stuff.
you do.
When I get done
Make
here,
money
I will
off
stop
taxes.
recording, I will
You
take
don't
all the
have a
stuff
housekeeper.
and the CD until Laura and her.
Okay, because that's not something I would
Laura,
do,
that's
but, it's, I don't
We're driving.
So if we have nothing else, I
Shopping
will
for an
accept
SUV
a
for 3
motion
years,
to adjourn.
and every single
So
time I go,
moved.
he's like, oh, well, what
So
is
we
this?
are
I'll
adjourning,
second.
all right,
And I
at
keep putting on the reason I have
7:48. All those in favor?
6, 7.
Anybody opposed?